Hey everyone, welcome back. It's your boy Zaymont with some Battlefield 3 campaign footage this time. We're going to start at the beginning with Semper Fidelis. And big hoorah to all the Marines out there watching. You guys doing a hell of a job. And personally, I've always been a Navy man. I've always had a love for the sea, especially the Atlantic Ocean. You know, I grew up right here on just miles away from it, literally. My dad served in the Coast Guard back in the 70s, so I guess in a way I suppose that the love for the sea is ingrained in my DNA. Let's get back to the battlefield though. One thing I like about the weapons in Battlefield 3 is you can select your rate of fire on most weapons. If you have a weapon that can go from automatic fire to a single shot or 3-round burst, I really like that, especially going to that single fire for distance shots. One thing I'd like to see from both franchises would be the addition, or more the ability, to select your weapons during campaign footage. Not necessarily kit them out with holographics, although that would be a definite added plus. But if I want to use, if I feel an M4 and the 1911 would be a better loadout for me. I mean, in many ways, the ability to select your weapon loadout could mean the difference between success and failure. And it's not like Navy SEALs are just given a gun and say, go to work. They have the option to choose what loadout they're going to use based on where they're going to be fighting, where the combat's going to be, and what their role is going to be for that mission. It would definitely add a whole nother level of realism to the game. Not like Battlefield is really lagging in realism, let's be honest there. You know, to me, one of the factors that make a truly great game are the weapons and technology available to you. If it's a game like Halo, imagination has free reign as far as weapons, their characteristics, capabilities, so forth and so on. Whereas the more realistic shooters, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, rely solely on what technologies are or were available during the era in which that specific game takes place. As far as weapon and era realism, I think it's fair to say that Call of Duty and Battlefield both do remarkably well with their attention to the specific details. As I've said before, if Call of Duty would just up the ante a little on their graphics, it'd be a whole new ballgame for them. Since we are already on the graphics discussion, let's make that the point of interest in today's minisode. In my opinion, and that of most of my cohorts, the graphics COD offer are just too old school in nature. There's no real life to your environment, not to mention you're generally very limited in where you can go as far as hides for you campers, and escape or alternate routes and such when it comes to Call of Duty. I've always kind of felt that developers got halfway through building their sets, so to speak, and just said to hell with it. People will buy it because it's Call of Duty. They'll pay for the name and not care about what's missing. And unfortunately, in most cases, it seems as though they're right. I even fall under that category because I do eventually wind up getting the Modern Warfare games. When I play a Call of Duty game, though, I feel no real sense of depth or environment at all. Battlefield, on the other hand, is a true 3D environment. You can see the time and effort put into each set. If you're on Caspian Border, say, the trees, they look real down to the leaves and the motion of the trees blowing in the wind, so forth and so on. In Battlefield, there's an overall sense that every element has a potential use and purpose. Not to mention in Battlefield 3, if you get pinned down by an enemy squad or enemy armor in a building, you have C4 or an RPG-7 equipped, you can either make a formidable defense on your own, or you can even choose to make your own escape route and just kind of head out the back way if you're low on ammo or whatever the situation, if you're waiting for backup. The options DICE offer Battlefield players is practically limitless in that sense, but that's of course thanks to the Frostbite 2.0 engine and the European need for absolute perfection. My only real issue with Battlefield 3's graphic capabilities is probably the fact that on Xbox 360, and yes, I am a 360 console player, you have to install the high definition components, and they chose to split the game into 2 discs just for graphic reasons. In my opinion, that's still a very small price to pay for the detail that they put into the latest installment of the Battlefield franchise. Beyond having to install the HD component, I would definitely say that Battlefield leads the way as far as FPS shooter graphics, without a doubt. Next time we'll go into the weapons a little bit more and keep it real on the battlefield and keep your warfare modern, because that's how we roll in the Dead Clan.